Republican Senator Jim Bunning. Senator, always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed for coming back again.
Thank you, Stuart. Very glad to be here.
Right off the top, should Tim Geithner be fired or should he resign?
One of the either way. First of all, I didn't think he was qualified for the job because of his involvement in TARP and a seat at the table. And then, of course, he hasn't done anything to ease the burden. Where's the plan? You know, he was going to bring the plan to the banking committee. We still haven't seen a plan, and he's been in office for 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, Senator, next week we understand that there will be this plan on the table.
Wonderful.
And it will bring, or attempt to bring, some private money and more taxpayer money in to bail out the banks. If it brings in more taxpayer money, and it will, would you vote for it?
Heavens no. Are you kidding me?
Well, then wait a second. Then are you in the camp that says we just let them fail?
Absolutely, I'm in that camp. Fail because they have had bad management caused them to fail. We have bailed out everybody in sight, and I just heard a lead into your show that we are going to put $5 billion in auto parts and other things like that now.
But
$5 billion.
It's a roll of the dice. Because banks are different. They're not auto parts companies. They're not car makers. They're banks. They've got the money. If they fail, couldn't you be looking at 25% unemployment, just as we were in the 1930s when thousands of banks failed?
Well, if you feel that way, then I'll let you come and take my seat, and you can vote for them. Otherwise, this member of the U.S. Senate is going to vote against the federal government spending taxpayers' money to reward people of incompetence. And that is what we're doing by bailing out the bankers who incompetently bought these securities that weren't worth anything. And then 10% money was not good enough profit. They wanted to make 40% money. Well, that's all well and good, but you shouldn't be using taxpayers' money to bail them out. This is a smokescreen. This AIG bonus thing is a smokescreen to what's really going on, Stuart.
All right, what do you think is really going on? What's being covered up here?
Really going on, AIG has paid 100% on the dollar to $45.3 billion to U.S. banks and to non-U.S. banks. In other words, to European banks, $57.8 billion, 100% on paper that's worth about 20. Now that is what's really going on in the taxpayers' money being spent for purposes that it never was intended to spend on.
If the bank bailout plan, the new big bailout plan, arrives in the Senate, say, next week, are there the votes there to pass it?
No.
Absolutely not. It's not going to happen?
In other words, if we have a TARP 4, you couldn't get it passed with Chris Dodd's problems as head of the banking committee in the Senate and with the public outcry just on the bonuses, not on what is really happening with AIG. AIG should have been allowed to go down the tubes, and we should have made the best we could with companies that go bankrupt. Just like the big three autos, they should go bankrupt and should work their way through an organized bankruptcy.
Okay, but I'm almost out of time, and Senator, I hate to interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
I hate to interrupt you, but I have to ask one last question. When Lehman went bankrupt back in September of last year, there was a chain reaction all around the world. Supposing we had 10 Lehmans, and that is possible if we do not bail anybody out or don't backstop them. You're prepared to run that risk. You do that.
I'm prepared to run that risk because Lehman Brothers was poorly run. And guess what? Guess who profited by Lehman Brothers going down? Goldman Sachs. It's kind of incestuous. The Goldman Sachs relationship with Treasury, the former Treasury Secretary, and now with Geithner. Geithner has an incestuous relationship with Wall Street. So what we are doing, Stuart, is we are bailing out Wall Street and not Main Street.
We got it. Senator Jim Bunning, always a pleasure, and we thank you again for coming back with us today. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.